The death of my grandfather, William, had left a heavy cloud of sorrow hanging over our family. He was a stern, enigmatic man, the kind who rarely spoke of his past, and his passing left us with more questions than answers. It was during the reading of his will that I received the mysterious box, a small, intricately carved chest that seemed to hold a dark secret. As I sat in the dimly lit room, surrounded by somber faces, the lawyer cleared his throat and began to read my grandfather's will. Most of it was routine, the distribution of assets and sentimental heirlooms, until he came to the part about the box. "To my beloved grandchild," the lawyer intoned, "I leave the small chest that rests upon my study desk. May you find within it the answers you seek." The mention of the box piqued my curiosity. I had spent countless hours in my grandfather's study as a child, surrounded by the scent of old books and the dusty allure of forgotten relics. I had always been drawn to that mysterious chest, but he had kept it locked and had never allowed me to open it. With the reading of the will concluded, I made my way to my grandfather's study. It was a room frozen in time, filled with antique furniture and shelves upon shelves of ancient tomes. The box sat on the desk, bathed in the soft glow of afternoon sunlight that filtered through heavy curtains. I reached for the box, my fingers trembling with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. It was a work of art, covered in intricate carvings that depicted scenes of mythical creatures and otherworldly landscapes. It felt ancient, as if it had witnessed centuries of history. The lock was an ornate affair, a brass keyhole with a peculiar insignia etched above it. I searched the study for a key but found none. It was then that I noticed a letter tucked beneath the box, its edges yellowed with age. I carefully unfolded it, revealing my grandfather's distinctive handwriting. "My dearest grandchild," the letter began, "I leave you this box with a heavy heart, for within it lies a secret that has haunted our family for generations. The key to unlocking its mysteries is hidden in the past, and it is my hope that you will uncover the truth that has been concealed for so long." The cryptic words sent a shiver down my spine, and I felt an undeniable urge to unravel the enigma that my grandfather had left behind. The letter went on to explain that the key was hidden in our ancestral home, a place I had not visited since my childhood. With determination in my heart, I embarked on a journey to our family's old estate, a sprawling mansion that had been abandoned for years. It was a place of haunting beauty, with ivy-covered walls and overgrown gardens that whispered of a forgotten past. As I explored the decaying halls and dusty rooms of the mansion, I felt an eerie sense of being watched. The air was heavy with the weight of memories, and I couldn't help but wonder what secrets lay hidden within these walls. It was in the attic, buried beneath a pile of forgotten relics, that I discovered the key, an ornate brass key with the same insignia as the lock on the box. It was as if fate had guided me to this long-forgotten place, urging me to uncover the truth that my grandfather had kept hidden for so long. With the key in hand, I returned to my grandfather's study, my heart pounding with anticipation. The box seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy as I inserted the key into the lock and turned it with a trembling hand. As the lid creaked open, I was met with a sight that sent a chill down my spine, a swirling darkness that seemed to devour the very light around it. It was as if I had unlocked a portal to another realm, a realm of nightmares and horrors beyond imagination. I couldn't tear my gaze away from the abyss within the box. It defied all reason, a seemingly endless void contained within the confines of a small chest. As I stared into the darkness, I felt an unsettling presence, as though something malevolent lurked just beyond the threshold. A surge of fear coursed through me, and I was on the verge of closing the box and sealing away whatever eldritch force it held. But curiosity and a sense of duty to my grandfather's legacy compelled me to press on. I needed to understand what lay within this enigmatic void. Carefully, I reached into the box, my fingers disappearing into the inky abyss. It felt as if I were plunging my hand into freezing water, and an oppressive weight settled upon my chest. My heart pounded as I fumbled around, searching for something, anything that might provide answers. My fingers brushed against something cold and smooth. I wrapped my hand around it and pulled it out. A small, ancient-looking book with a tattered leather cover. It bore no title, and the pages were yellowed with age. As I opened the book, I was met with a series of cryptic symbols and diagrams, each more incomprehensible than the last. The text appeared to be in a language I couldn't recognize, filled with arcane runes and intricate illustrations of grotesque creatures. Despite my lack of understanding, an ominous feeling washed over me as I stared at the pages. It was as if the book itself radiated malevolence, a dark force that threatened to consume anyone who dared to delve into its secrets. Determined to uncover the truth, I spent countless hours researching the symbols and deciphering the cryptic text. It led me down a dark path, one filled with whispers of ancient rituals and forbidden knowledge. It was a journey that took me to the depths of the occult and the fringes of the supernatural. As I delved deeper into the book's contents, I began to piece together a chilling narrative. A tale of a cursed artifact, a gateway to an otherworldly dimension, and a family secret that had been kept hidden for generations. According to the text, the box had been created by an ancestor in the distant past, a practitioner of dark magic who sought to harness the power of the void. But the experiment had gone horribly wrong, unleashing a malevolent force that had plagued our family ever since. The book contained a series of incantations and rituals that could potentially banish the entity back into the void, but they came with a dire warning. Each attempt to seal the darkness would exact a terrible price, a sacrifice that would forever alter the fate of our bloodline. It was a choice that weighed heavily on my shoulders. Should I attempt to confront the malevolent force that had been unleashed, or should I seal the box and safeguard the world from the horrors it contained? The answer eluded me, and I felt the weight of my grandfather's legacy pressing down upon me. As I continued my research, I couldn't shake the feeling that the darkness within the box was growing stronger, its influence seeping into my dreams and waking hours. It whispered to me in the dead of night, a haunting voice that filled my thoughts with dread. I knew that a reckoning was approaching, and I could no longer ignore the malevolent force that had been unleashed. The time had come to confront the nightmare that my grandfather's box had unleashed upon our family, to face the dark legacy that had haunted us for generations. With a heavy heart and a growing sense of dread, I decided to delve deeper into the rituals and incantations from the ancient book. I understood the risks and the sacrifices that lay ahead, but I couldn't allow the malevolent force to continue its torment, both within the box and within my own mind. The first ritual required the collection of rare and esoteric ingredients, a task that led me on a journey to distant lands and hidden corners of the world. I ventured into dark forests, consulted with reclusive mystics, and bartered with cryptic merchants for the rare components required. The night of the ritual arrived, and I stood in the dimly lit study, the box and the book laid out before me. The symbols and incantations were etched into the wooden floor, forming an intricate pattern that pulsed with an eerie energy. I lit a circle of candles and began to chant the incantations, the ancient words flowing from my lips like a prayer. The room seemed to vibrate with a palpable tension, and the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. As the ritual reached its crescendo, I felt a surge of power coursing through me, as if I had tapped into forces beyond my comprehension. The darkness within the box trembled, a swirling maelstrom of shadows that fought against the incantations. With a final, resounding cry, I completed the ritual, a burst of blinding light filling the room. The box quivered, and for a moment, it seemed as though the malevolent force had been banished back into the void. But the victory was short-lived. The darkness surged forth with renewed fury, as if it had merely been toying with me. It lashed out, a torrent of inky tendrils that ensnared me, pulling me toward the box. I fought against the relentless force, my body straining with the effort. The room seemed to warp and distort, and I felt as though I were being pulled into an abyss of despair. With a final surge of strength, I managed to break free from the tendrils' grasp and stumbled backward, gasping for breath. The box sat before me, undisturbed, its malevolent occupant still contained within. The ritual had failed, and I had been left shaken and drained, a sense of hopelessness washing over me. The darkness within the box had proven to be a formidable adversary, and I was beginning to doubt whether I could ever truly confront and vanquish it. As I sat in the dimly lit study, I realized that the malevolent force was growing stronger with each passing day. It whispered to me in my dreams, taunting me with visions of unspeakable horrors. I could feel its influence seeping into every aspect of my life, threatening to consume me entirely. Desperation gnawed at my soul, and I knew that I couldn't continue to face this nightmare alone. I needed help, someone who understood the occult and the depths of the supernatural. My search led me to a reclusive expert in the arcane, a scholar who had spent a lifetime studying the forces that lurked in the shadows. Together, we delved deeper into the ancient book, searching for a way to confront and banish the malevolent force once and for all. We consulted with spirits and performed rituals that pushed the boundaries of the known world, all in an attempt to unlock the secrets of the box and the darkness it contained. As the days turned into weeks, our efforts became increasingly desperate. The malevolent force fought back with a relentless determination, its influence spreading like a cancer. It whispered promises of unimaginable power and unspeakable horrors, a seductive lure that threatened to corrupt and consume us both. But we pressed on, driven by a shared determination to confront the darkness and put an end to the nightmare that had plagued our family for generations. We knew that the final reckoning was approaching, and the fate of our bloodline hung in the balance. As we prepared for the ultimate confrontation, I couldn't help but wonder if we were playing a dangerous game, tampering with forces beyond our comprehension. The malevolent force within the box was a formidable adversary, and I feared that our efforts might unleash a cataclysmic event that could threaten the very fabric of reality itself. But there was no turning back now. The darkness had taken root, and the time had come to face the nightmare head-on, to confront the malevolent force and banish it back into the void from whence it came. The final battle loomed on the horizon, and the fate of our family and the world itself hung in the balance. The night of the final confrontation arrived, and the study was bathed in an eerie, flickering glow from the candles that encircled the room. The air was thick with anticipation, and a sense of foreboding weighed heavily upon us. My reclusive mentor and I stood before the box and the ancient book, our faces etched with determination and fear. The symbols and incantations were inscribed upon the floor, a testament to the countless hours of research and preparation that had brought us to this moment. We began the ritual, chanting the incantations with a solemnity that bordered on reverence. The words flowed from our lips like a desperate plea, an entreaty to the unknown forces that lay beyond the veil of reality. As we chanted, the room seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. The candles flickered and danced, casting eerie shadows upon the walls. The darkness within the box stirred, a writhing mass of malevolent energy that fought against the incantations. The battle between light and darkness raged on, the room vibrating with a palpable tension. It was a battle of wills, a struggle for the very soul of our bloodline. With each incantation, the malevolent force within the box grew weaker, its tendrils of darkness retreating. But it fought back with a ferocity that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, unleashing a barrage of nightmarish visions and psychic assaults. I felt the darkness clawing at my mind, probing my deepest fears and insecurities. It whispered promises of power and domination, tempting me to surrender to its seductive embrace. But I resisted, clinging to my determination and the knowledge that our family's fate hung in the balance. As the ritual reached its zenith, a blinding burst of light erupted from the box, filling the room with a searing brilliance. The malevolent force let out a howl of agony, its form contorting and writhing as it was pushed back into the inky abyss. With a final cry, we completed the ritual, sealing the box and banishing the darkness once and for all. The room fell silent, the oppressive weight of the malevolent force lifted, and a profound sense of relief washed over us. It was done. The nightmare that had haunted our family for generations had finally been vanquished, and the box sat before us, its malevolent occupant no longer a threat. Exhausted and drained, my mentor and I collapsed to the floor, our bodies trembling with the aftershocks of the battle. We knew that the price of our victory had been steep, that the sacrifices we had made would forever alter the course of our lives. As we caught our breath and gazed upon the sealed box, I couldn't help but wonder if the darkness within would ever truly be gone, or if it would continue to linger, waiting for an opportunity to return. But for now, the nightmare had been banished, and our family's legacy could finally be one of light and redemption rather than darkness and despair. As we left the study, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure and a glimmer of hope for the future. In the end, the box had unleashed a nightmare that had tested the limits of our courage and resolve. But it had also led us to confront the darkness within ourselves and to find the strength to banish it, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome even the most terrifying of horrors. In the aftermath of the final confrontation, my mentor and I were forever changed. The malevolent force had been banished, and the box remained sealed, but the toll it had taken on us was immeasurable. We had glimpsed the abyss, and it had left scars on our souls that would never fully heal. The once ancient book, now tattered and frayed, held the key to understanding the malevolent force and the dark legacy of our family. It was a tome filled with forbidden knowledge, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows of the occult. My mentor and I decided to safeguard the book, locking it away in a secure vault where it could never again be used to unleash such horrors. We both understood the responsibility that came with possessing such dangerous knowledge and vowed to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. As for the sealed box, we buried it in a remote and desolate location, far from civilization, hoping that it would remain hidden and undisturbed for all eternity. It was a final act of closure, a way to ensure that the malevolent force would never again threaten our family or the world. But the scars of our ordeal ran deep, and we could never truly forget the horrors we had witnessed. The malevolent force had tested our resolve, pushing us to the brink of despair, and we had emerged from the ordeal forever marked by the experience. In the years that followed, I dedicated my life to the study of the occult, determined to understand the forces that had been unleashed by the box and to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. My mentor and I continued to work together, sharing our knowledge and experience with others who sought to confront the darkness that lurked in the shadows. The nightmare that had haunted our family for generations had finally been put to rest, but we knew that the world was filled with mysteries and terrors beyond imagination. We had seen firsthand the thin veil that separated our reality from the unknown, and we were forever changed by the experience. As I reflect on the events that unfolded, I am reminded of the enduring power of the human spirit to confront and overcome even the most terrifying of nightmares. The box had unleashed a nightmare that had tested our courage and resolve, but it had also shown us the strength that lies within us all. Life moved on, and the memories of the malevolent force and the nightmare it had unleashed began to fade. My mentor and I continued our work, helping others confront their own encounters with the supernatural and offering guidance to those who sought to tread the perilous path of the occult. The sealed box and the ancient book remained hidden, safeguarded against the possibility of their return. We had learned the hard way that some secrets were better left untouched, some knowledge better left buried in the past. But the darkness had a way of lingering, a subtle presence that haunted the edges of our lives. We couldn't help but wonder if the malevolent force still existed, lurking in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to resurface. As the years passed, I received a letter, a message from a distant relative, a cousin I had never met. The letter was a plea for help, a desperate cry for assistance in confronting a nightmare that had plagued their family for generations. It spoke of a box, similar to the one my grandfather had possessed, and the malevolent force it had unleashed. It was a chilling revelation, a reminder that the nightmare we had banished had not been unique to our bloodline. The malevolent force had left a trail of destruction in its wake, a legacy of darkness that extended far beyond our family. I knew that I could not ignore the plea for help, that I had a duty to confront the malevolent force once again and prevent it from inflicting further torment. My mentor agreed, and together we embarked on a journey to aid our distant relatives in their time of need. As we arrived at their ancestral home, we could feel the oppressive weight of the malevolent force, a sense of dread that hung in the air like a thick fog. The box sat on a table, its ornate carvings and brass lock eerily reminiscent of the one my grandfather had possessed. We knew that the same dark legacy had resurfaced, that the malevolent force had returned to wreak havoc upon another generation. But this time, we were prepared, armed with the knowledge and experience that had been forged in the crucible of our own nightmare. We began the ritual, the incantations and symbols etched into the floor, just as we had done years before. The room seemed to pulse with a familiar tension, a battle between light and darkness that had played out once before. As we chanted, the malevolent force fought back with a ferocity that sent shivers down my spine. It unleashed a barrage of nightmarish visions and psychic assaults, testing our resolve and determination. But we were not alone this time. Our distant relatives stood by our side, their courage and strength bolstering our own. Together, we pushed back against the darkness, determined to banish it once and for all. With a final, resounding cry, we completed the ritual, sealing the malevolent force back into the box from whence it came. The room fell silent, the weight of the darkness lifted, and a sense of relief washed over us. The nightmare had been confronted and banished, and our distant relatives could finally be free from its torment. As we left their ancestral home, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure and a glimmer of hope for the future. The malevolent force may have returned, but we had proven that we could face it with courage and resilience. The nightmare that had haunted our family for generations could no longer hold us captive, and we were determined to ensure that it would never again threaten our bloodline or the world. And so we continue to walk the path of the occult, to confront the mysteries and terrors that lurk in the shadows. The malevolent force may have tested our resolve, but it has also shown us the strength and unity that can emerge from the darkest of nightmares.